Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to our front-end development class. In today's class, we are going to talk in details about properties and values of cascading style sheet, and the discussion will be as follows. We will start talking about CSS properties, CSS values, and then we will talk in details about each of them, and finally ends with the values units. As we discussed in previous video, each CSS sentence consists of two parts. The first is the selector and the second is the declaration. Declaration itself is a combination of a pair of properties and values. So each property has values for it. CSS introduce variety of properties, and to be exact, there are more than 100 properties being introduced in CSS3. However, you don't need to memorize all of them. What you need to know is that these properties are classified into groups: properties for fonts, for text, colors properties, backgrounds properties, list properties, margins, and borders properties. So it is categorized in 7 groups. And then you need to have a plan in your mind what you are going to include in your web page. After that, you will look for the properties to style it. On the other hand, properties values can be one of the following types. It could be a keyword such as large, medium, small. So we use a specific keyword. Or it could be a number like 1, 2, 0.5, just a decimal number. It could be also a length value such as px for pixel, in for inch, cm for centimeter, and so on and so forth. Percentage value, of course, we will use a number followed with a percentage symbol. And we have also relative values such as em, which means that the value will be measured relatively to the element value. And the last one is the color property value, which could be a color name, RGB, or hexadecimal value. Let's start with the properties one by one. We will go for the fonts properties, and for fonts there are a variety of properties that can be used to change or to style the font by CSS. There are font family to specify the font family. There is a size to specify the height of the letters, text decoration, font color, and much more. However, we are going to take these 4 as examples. Font family. Talking about font family, there are thousands of font in the world. Some of it are not free, and that's why not all fonts are installed in all computers. And that's why CSS specify a major, or let's say a general fonts family that can be used in major browsers. All browsers has it, okay? These general fonts are the cursive, fantasy, monospace, serif, and sans serif. The point is like this: when we specify a font family, we may specify one or more fonts family, separate them by commas. However, make sure the last font family is a general one. If the browser cannot find a specific font family, then it for sure will find the general one and apply it to your website text. All right? Example of that, we may have the sentence like this: font family, and then we have Courier, Prestige, which are fonts inside monospace family, font family, and that's why we end with the monospace. So if the browser could not find the Courier, the Prestige, of course it will find any other font part from monospace family. The other property is font size, and in general 16 pixel is the font size for paragraph, or what we call 1 em. So you can make it 2 em, you can make it 18 px pixel, more or less is up to you, and that will be done by using font size property. At the same time, you can use also a keyword such as double x small, x small, small, medium, large, x large, double x large. So you have an option to use this or that. With practice, you will know which one to use, which one is more suitable for you. There is also font style and font weight. Font style will be specify the font to be normal or italic. As you know, italic is going to be like Pizza Tower, you know? So it will be italic. And the font weight could be normal or could be bold. As you can see in front of you, the normal is normal and the bold is highlighted somehow. Okay, so we introduced a variety of font properties, and there is an easy way to include them. I mean, instead of having like font family and then the value, and after that font size and the value, and then font style and the value, there is a shorthand property which combine all of these properties in one sentence, as you can see in front of you. So we have font, and that means we are going to specify the properties for font, all properties, okay? And then the first will be the value of font size, and then the value of font variant, the value of font weight, the value of font size, the value of line height value. We did not talk about it, but you may go and investigate by yourself, and you are welcome to ask me. And also finally, font family value. So it has to be in this sequence. However, you don't need to include all of this information. At least you need to have two of them, which are the font size value and the font family value. All right, so if you don't want to include all of them, you need to include the font size. You put it at first and then followed with the font family. Example, we have font colon followed with italic, large, and then the font family. As you can see, we have three different font families separated by commas. The double quotation there for Arial Black, because that font family consists of two words and it's better to include them inside a double quotation. So as you can see, we specify only the style, which is optional, and then the size, which is must, and finally the font size. Text alignment is another property. And in comparison with font properties can be specified for one character, but text properties will be for the whole text, okay? A combination of characters. So the alignment is to where you want to set your text. By default, it will be at the left. So you could make it in the middle horizontally, or let's say in the center, or at the right side of the browser, as well as you can justify it. So the left will be look like this, and this is the right, and of course this is the center. Justification will look like this. You see, if you open Microsoft Word, for example, if you open any word processor, and then you have this text, right? At the end of the line, you can see that this line ends before this one, and this one ends after this one. So we have an option to select all, and then go up here and select justify. Notice the end of the line, it will be all in the same, let's say, rule, or on the same column. It starts and ends at the same lines. That is justify. So you could do that for your web page by using the justify. Another property is text decoration, and it will be used to highlight some texts in your web page. Highlight could be done by overline, underline, line cross or cross line, or we call line throw, and there is blink and none. It is not suggested to use blink, all right? So underline will be under the line. So that is text decoration, and text decoration property will be used in our CSS statement. Remember, all are small letter, no capital letter, but this is just a slide presentation. By the way, links in HTML pages mostly have an underline. So you can use none property to remove the underline from the links in your web pages. Color properties can be used for text color and also background color. Color property will be used for text color, and background color will be used for background, of course. It is clear, right? So we can color it, as we said, by three different ways, even by using color name. And if you are beginner, you may go and use these names. There are around 147 colors introduced with CSS3. If you are professional in designing and you like to use the hexadecimal number, or you like to use the HSL, you can go for it. So basically both of them, the first one, I mean the RGB, will use the hexadecimal numbers, percentage, or even integer numbers, integer between 0 to 255. The HSL can use the percentage. And the A stands for transparent. If you want to make the color transparent, and you have between 0 until 1. All right, so we have covered lots of properties, and now it's the box model. In general, each web page element will reserve a box in our web page. As you can see in the example here, we have a content. Imagine it's a paragraph or a heading or even an image, okay? So it will reserve a box in the page, or let's say a square space in the page. This square space has contents, padding, border, and margin. And of course, you can see the content there, right? And here is the border. By default, border is hidden, except maybe for tables. But for paragraph, you will never see the border, except if you set the border value. So, okay, at that time you will see it. So you may go and give it a try. So imagine that this is our web page and we have a content. So the content will be here, and there will be some space, and then we will have the border, okay? So here is the content, and here is the border. So where is the margin and padding? Padding is the part between the content itself and its border. And margin is the space between that content and another content. All right? So yeah, as you can see in front of you, we have content, we have padding, we have border, and we have margin. To style a border, you will use the following values for border style. It could be none, and that is the default. That's why you don't see a border for a paragraph. There is also solid, dashes, dotted, and double. Go and try it. When talking about padding, as we said just now, padding is the space between the content and the border. And when we specify it, we specify padding for all sides of the content. I mean, right, left, up, and down. However, if you want to specify padding for one side only, you may use the padding top, right, bottom, or even padding left. And similar thing applied to margin, which is the space between the element and another element. You can also specify the property for all sides, or maybe for one single side. As we described just now, there are different ways to specify the values units. It could be absolute value, such as pixel, inch, centimeter. It can be relative, it can be percentage, right? So here is an advice. If you are going to have a font related property value, so may use EM. And if you are going to set a margin, you may use a percentage. That's it for today's video. Thank you for watching and good luck. If you have any question, write it below. Salam.